Hello guys, welcome to GRAZYTV. Can we appreciate this teddy bear earring? Like what? Look at this little cutie pie. Look at this beautiful corset top that I found. Nice little art, Renaissance art right here. Have you guys ever wondered, is magic real? Is there a Hogwarts in real life? Voodoo dolls, witchcraft, spells, love spells, candle magic. Is Harry Potter magic real or not? Can we make potions to make someone fall in love with me? Miss Pythian Priestess is a real life witch and she's going to be answering all the questions for you. I got goosebumps as I was talking to her because everything she said made sense and she made it very easy to understand. I worked in this video really hard. I literally almost broke my arm editing this, so it would mean so much if you could just hit the like button to hit the algorithm so that this video could reach out to more audience so we can all learn about magic and one day fulfill our dreams of going to Hogwarts. It's free to hit the like button. Remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell because I reply to all my early birds. I'm live chatting with you guys the moment this video is up. No further ado, here we go. Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for joining.
A pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. Sorry my bangs are a little messy. I just got out of acupuncture actually.
Just want to, I guess, like, for the audience, what is the basic easy understanding of what magic is, witchcraft is?
There are three components to magic. The first thing is intention. What do you want to achieve? Intentions should always be present tense, as if they are already happening. Our minds are complicated, but also very simple. Words, I am, are the most powerful words we can use. So I am wealthy, I am healthy. By resetting our neurological pathways, we are literally reconstructing our brain, creating our own reality. People hear that a lot, but they don't know what it means. Next part is action. You need to take your intention and create something. Oh, this is my cat. Hello. Whether it's creating a candle, creating or burning manifestations, or whether you're dancing under the moon, that is a form of action that you are imbuing intention into. And the last thing is your will, the force. Like, how much energy are you putting behind it? Energy and action are separate. And I think a lot of people confuse that. You need a combination of all three. You need to take your thoughts, create them on a physical level, and then you will put your will behind it to push it out into the universe and ask for it to come true. That is the basic, most simple way I can explain it to anyone. Magic is science. This is true. Magic came from science. That is why we hear the term occult sciences. And our scientific method that we use today was actually created back in the 1600s, right before the Renaissance, where we start to see this use of trial and error. The problem is magic is not just science. It is also a little bit faith-based, because I cannot prove to you or to anyone else the experience of God or the universe or any entity that I'm interacting with. There is a level of faith that you have to have. And I think that is scary for some people, because faith, we assume of like blind faith, and there's not a lot to go on there, but that's not true. It's a combination of both. It is the physical and the spiritual.
One of the most questions people had was, how did you get started? And is this from a bloodline, or did you just kind of start it on your own?
So I was raised Catholic. I have that ritualistic background. I am very much in that culture until I went to Catholic school my entire life. The church I used to go to had these giant, like 20-foot murals of different portions of the Bible. I was looking at them one day, specifically Moses carrying down the tablets from Mount Sinai, and I was like, don't put other gods before me. Oh my God, there are other gods. And it just like clicked for me. And I was like, so all that stuff that I learned in mythology, like those gods exist in some form. Now, I don't personally believe there's a personified Zeus sitting on Mount Olympus. I don't believe in a personalized like Jesus. I believe these are energy channels that have been created over time. What really got me into witchcraft per se, I dated a black magician who put a curse on me when I was very young, and I had no idea. You know, I'm a baby. So I lived for 5 years with this curse. I had H1N1 twice. I had the swine flu. I missed 40 days of my senior year of high school because I was in the hospital. My immune system crashed. And I was fortunate enough to meet a family who practiced hoodoo, who were willing to help me. Through that is where I started to learn witchcraft. And for your listeners, I'd like to explain the difference between natural magic and ceremonial magic. You may also hear this as high magic or low magic. Those terms don't mean better or less than any other one, but natural magic is using the earth, That is what witchcraft is. We are using the elements. Ceremonial magic or high magic is when we are working mostly in the astral and working with god energies.
What do you mean a black magician?
A black magician is someone who works with infernal energies. So I know one of the questions that a lot of people had is, what is the difference between black and white magic?
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a secret. There is no difference. Magic is magic. Magic is a clear color. The person, the magician, gives it intention. So if I am, let's say I'm putting out healing energy for those who are suffering from COVID, that's white magic because it is a positive intent. Black magic's where it gets a little more confusing. I'm going to be using a source named Manly P. Hall. He was a mystic in the 20th century in Los Angeles, and he specifically differentiated the term black magic into two separate categories. You have the true darkness and you have the false darkness. Infernal magic is not inherently evil. When we think of evil, devil comes up, all of that like understanding of good versus evil. When we think of through magic, we have to eliminate those terms because good and evil are human perceptions. Those are human actions. Ethereal energies don't work that way. So false darkness is someone who is using magic for malevolent purposes, hexing someone because they don't like that person, sending someone negative energy because they want to see them suffer. Manly specifically calls these selfish intentions. I disagree. I think that like asking for money may not be selfish, but the minute that your ethics start to slide, that is when I think you become a malevolent black magician. So let's talk about true darkness. What's true darkness? True darkness or infernal divine is the understanding that we live in a world and universe of duality. We need both yin, yang, masculine, feminine, projective, receptive. There's lots of language to use. When we are referring to the true infernal divine, it is the dark feminine energy of protection and of love. Think of a womb. A womb, for example, has no light, but it is inherently protective. And honestly, we look at the Bible, the world came from darkness. All part of that darkness. It is all within us. It does not mean evil. It does not mean bad. You get to choose if you will take that darkness within you and turn it into a malevolent purpose.
When you say you got cursed, how did you know? Like, did this person do it in front of you? Or do you have this feeling?
I had never been that. I was not a sickly child. So for my immune system to crash in such a way to like, that was number one. The doctors couldn't find out any reason, like, why is she constantly getting sick? I was on probiotics. I did everything right and I was still getting sick. The second thing was my attitude. Try very hard in my life to be patient and understanding because I always want someone to treat me the way that I treat them. I never want to be yelled at or disrespected, but my patience had just been shot to hell. A lot of anger bubbling inside of me and I wasn't acting like myself. It was officially confirmed for me. 18, I just turned 18 and the family did what we call an egg cleansing or ovomancy. And that is when you take an egg and you pull it all around your body and pull all the energy and cracking it. Inside of my egg, there was a black dot and a little bit of blood, which was indication to the mother of the family that there had been something malevolent placed upon me. Through her own divination and her use of Reiki, which is body work, that this lesser infernal energy, people use the term demon, it's not the same. It's like a trickster spirit had been placed on me to literally make my life miserable.
So how did you get rid of that energy? You said just the egg or?
No, I went through an exorcism, actually.
Is that like the ones we see in the movies or?
No. Very different. So I was going through an exorcism through the Voodoo tradition. I can't share all of it, but I'll share what I can. Part of it was done independently by myself, and then another part was done with the family. I took basil leaves, and I had to literally like thwack my body all around to remove that energy. I took an egg. For everyone to understand, eggs in this tradition represent blood sacrifices. They're also cleansing energy. I had to crack 3 raw eggs over my head and let it drip down. It was so nasty. So I let that drip down my body. I showered and then I went to their home. Like I had done the pre-work and then they used energy working to physically remove the entity from my aura. And then they trapped it in a vessel and dropped it in the ocean.
What? Do you like see something coming out or is it more like just you can't really see it?
I'm not gonna lie, I had my eyes closed because I was scared. I was very young. I could feel it being lifted off of me. It's kind of like, you know, when you were a kid, if you ever went to the grocery store and you got those like blood pressure cups, it was kind of like that release feeling when it's like really, really tense and all of a sudden it's like,
wow. Is deity like an entity or a god?
Yes. So I work with several different gods, but I have altars to 2 of them in my home: an altar to the goddess Set, or the goddess Isis of ancient Egypt, and then the dark goddess Lilith, who comes from ancient Mesopotamia.
So for people who have no idea about this, what do you mean you work with them? Are they like, do you feel them? Why only that particular god?
So gods are like permanent house guests. You create a space for them, you feed them, and you water them, kind of. You give them water, you give them a place to live, and in turn, they let you use their power. That being said, I am an actual priestess, which is why I have been blessed with that energy, but it's something I've worked towards for thousands of years, and my soul has made pacts. I made a contract. A lot of working with deities is being a spiritual lawyer for yourself, and you have to be really thorough. A short version of the contract I have with a Set is I work to bring her energy into the world. I heal the world and bring the understanding of magic in its genuine form. I cannot talk about my contract with Lilith, as she asked me not to.
Is this your like full-time lifestyle, I guess? And if it is, what is your like morning to night like?
Yes, so it is something that I do every day. Discipline is the most important when it comes to this. And I know that there's a lot of people online who say that's ableist, but I didn't make the rules. The gods did. Go fight them. You have to show dedication and devotion, otherwise they're not interested. My morning, I wake up, I do my banishings, I invoke specific energies, and then I go to work. Anytime at work, I feel like something is going wrong in my life, or I get like overly emotional about something, I do prayers on my own, like silently to myself.
Oh, so you have another job you go to, a career.
Yes. I work in Hollywood. I am a TV writer and producer. So I come home from the day, make sure that there's nothing following me home, because that happens a lot. And I think it happens with more people than they realize. Then depending on what day of the week it is, on Saturdays, I do channeling sessions, which is where I bring a god into my body and let them speak through me. I do automatic writing. And then depending on what I need, whether I need to make candles that day or if I'm making a protection jar. As of right now, I don't think I'll ever do magic full time for money. To give your energy away constantly is very draining. I don't think that's for me. I love helping people, and I will certainly offer readings when I have the extra time and energy. My personal devotional work and my job in Hollywood, it's just not feasible.
So I had a big question about potions. How do potions work? Is it kind of like the ones you see in Harry Potter or movies? Love potions? Everybody has questions about love potions. Do they work or not? How does it work?
Well, if you do it right, it will work. Love magic is incredibly tricky because you cannot create genuine love. That must be created within oneself. If you were doing a love spell or a love potion on somebody without their permission, you're more or less making them your prisoner. We don't want to do that. You don't want a prisoner for a boyfriend or a girlfriend. What I can say is, how do they work? So most potions are created using herbs. Herbs have specific attributes. They also have a gender classification. That doesn't mean they're masculine or feminine. That just means, are they projective or are they receptive? So for example, if I'm making a love potion, I want to find herbs that have to do with love. Roses, lavender, lemon, all that good stuff. I use a crock pot, so it's an electric cauldron. The magic is in you. It's not in the tools. I actually will ask the herbs. I'll be like, hi, thank you so much for sacrificing yourself, for giving me the power of love or protection. I appreciate you. It is very important to give gratitude to Earth, because we don't just want to take and take and take. That's not good. Now, when we have all these things and they're bubbling, that is when you breed or you put intention into it. So as we talked about before, action, intention, and will. My action is creating the potion. My intention, I now will put it in by stirring it. I generally will use the pentagram in my potions as well. And then we have will. And the will is like, again, it comes from within you. And a part of it is belief and faith. If you do all of these things with genuine feeling and genuine faith, and you do the potion right, and you make sure you're not canceling out other herbs with each other, then yes, it will work. So by ingesting this potion, you are now bringing the powers of the herbs that you have activated by thanking them and asking them for their energy. So let's talk about self-love, for example. That's a little less ethically ambiguous. So I create this potion. I'm probably, as a priestess, I'm going to set it on my altar for a couple of days and ask the goddess to imbue it with her power as well before I drink it. And at that point, I am now putting my action through my physical body and allowing it to manifest.
This might be a really cheesy question, but a lot of people asked me, like, for example, if you got that love potion, gave it to your crush, are the goddesses bringing that manifestation to that guy to change his will or something? Is that how it works?
Yes, that is how it would work. And my goddess would be very mad at me if I did that. I actually have a video, an old video of I did try to do a love spell on someone, and she literally broke the candle at the bottom. Wow. And threw it off the altar. I was at a party and I came home with my girlfriend, and I always go check on the altars as soon as I get home. And I was like, oh my God, Michaela, there's glass everywhere. At first I was like, okay, did my cat do this? And I was like, no, there's no way the cat broke at the bottom of the candle. That doesn't make sense. So I meditated and I asked her, I said, hey, what happened here? Why did you do this? Sometimes I hear voices, sometimes I get images. And what she showed me was a pair of handcuffs. And I was like, I understand now. You don't want me to take away this person's free will and handcuff them to me, because that's basically what you're doing. Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you gave it to your crush to drink and they drink it somehow, you are then using not only your will, but the goddess's energy, if you're working with a goddess, to manipulate somebody. And most goddesses will be like, no. Try again.
Voodoo dolls. I know a lot of people think voodoo dolls are just totally out of the world, but I believe they could be possible.
Voodoo dolls are interesting. Voodoo specifically is a initiation only practice. So we're going to talk about Poppets. I don't specifically work with that practice, so I can't give a ton of information on that. But what I can talk about are Poppets. Poppets are the same thing. They're dolls, either made out of clay or they're sewn together. How do they work? You need a couple of things, especially if you're trying to manipulate somebody. You need their hair, fingernails, part of their DNA to go into that doll. What you will do then is by taking, again, you're taking someone's energy. So at this point, we're taking the energy of that person and putting my will onto it. Mm-hmm. The use of a doll, the most interesting thing I ever saw was somebody who did a fidelity spell or a loyalty spell using a Poppet, and they actually took a giant like lock and put it on the what? And I was like, that's not awesome. Maybe you just should not date a cheater. Like, you don't need to be doing magic. Like, if you really like your crush, tell them. Yeah, it's a lot easier and a lot less scary to do a candle or a love potion in your home. It may work, it may not work. It depends if the ancestors, the deities are like, yeah, this is good. Also know that spells can backfire. Let's say I made a Poppet on a person that I have a crush on. Their ancestors may be like, girl, this is not cool. We're going to make sure this doesn't work, because everybody on this planet has spirits that walk with them.
How true is it if you got a pin, put it into their finger while they feel it? Is that kind of too movie-like?
That's pretty movie-like. It won't happen immediately. Whenever we do magic, we are sending it out to the universe, correct? The astral is higher vibration than us. There are 7 different dimensions. Depending on where you put your spell, it's going to take time for it to trickle down into the material world, because we vibrate at a much lower frequency than the astral does.
What is one biggest misconceptions about witchcraft or witches?
I think that a lot of people think that witchcraft is used for evil or malevolent purposes. Now, that is certainly possible. Magic has no color. It is about the person who is using the magic. I also think that people expect that picking up some tarot cards, like these are the devil's tools. Well, they're just tools. There's no affiliation with any energy. And like people are scared of, like it's something they don't understand. And so because I don't understand it, it must be bad.
I feel like you're reading my questions because everything you mentioned is like the next question. The next question was, how do tarot cards work?
Oh, well, let me show you. Tarot cards are very unique. They've been around for a very long time. The most scholarly information dates back to about 14th century in Italy, where they were actually used for playing cards. They have suits just like playing cards. They also have face cards. So like jacks, kings, and queens, we also have them here in the deck. As it got more popular, people started using them for divination. And these 78 cards actually represent every human emotion, feeling, challenge that you will ever experience as a human being. Each card tells a story. So we're going to just pull one card, for example. Let's choose a card that I think a lot of people are a little bit scared of. Where did that tower go? This is called the Rider-Waite deck. The Rider-Waite deck was created in the early 1900s by a man named A.E. Waite. A woman named Pamela Coleman Smith is the one who illustrated them. She was one of the first biracial women that we see in magic. So here, we're looking at the tower. The best way to learn is by looking and using your intuition. So see here, we have a lightning bolt that's hitting the card, or right here, the tower. Because it is a lightning bolt and not man-made, we can assume that this is probably a divine intervention. We also see the crown is being knocked off the tower, meaning that things are going to be changing very rapidly. Colors are also very important. So in this card, for example, we see a lot of black. When we look at this card, we see a lot of yellow. Positivity versus something that's a little bit more potentially negative. By using each card, I can tell what a person is feeling. And let's be very, very specific. There's a difference between fortune telling and divination. Fortune telling takes away free will. That's why I don't trust when people are like, you're gonna have 5 kids and you're gonna live in Indiana and all this. No, no, no. The future is never set in stone. It is constantly changing every day depending on the choices that you make. Whenever I give a reading, I always let people know that this is the path they are currently on. If they choose to make a drastic change, this will no longer be relevant to them. That is the difference between divination and fortune telling. I can say, you want to start this business? Well, here are the 2 paths. You can work really, really hard, but be careful that your ego doesn't get in the way. Start your business, but make sure you're not listening to people and listen to your own intuition more. See all these people fighting? I can see a lot of different opinions being thrown around here.
Who's working with you when you're doing tarot? Like the gods, the same deities?
Whenever I do tarot, I will choose whether I'm working with the light goddess or the dark goddess. Most people who are beginning in tarot, I suggest to them that they open a space of protection, also known as casting a circle in Wiccan terms. It's kind of used as a slang term these days. Inviting your ancestors in, inviting your guides, and always banishing or removing anything that means you ill will or harm.
How far-fetched is like Hollywood movies, like Harry Potter, Wand? Have you seen like Thunderbolt out of someone's hand?
As someone who works in Hollywood, I can tell you that magic has been manipulated to be visual. So most of the time when magic is done, you are not going to see sparks out of people's hands. You're not going to watch somebody levitate. That being said, there are some yogis and there have been stories of people who have been able to do such things, but generally the average person would not. I think that there's a lot of truth in the Hollywood stories, but they are certainly not the whole truth and they are exaggerated. For example, let's talk about exorcisms. So as somebody who was exorcised and as somebody who has been possessed, both willingly and unwillingly, some of the stories that you hear about people like throwing up and their heads twisting around are very rare, very, very rare. Most of the time, if you see someone who is under a spell or a malevolent one in particular, it's going to be an attitude change. It's going to be an energy change in that person. The most magical thing I've ever experienced generally works with my candles. So I do a lot of candle magic, particularly because candles are a form of alchemy. We have all 5 elements in the candle and we watch it change, just like I'm attempting to change something in my life. From the candles, I can get a pretty clear reading of whether or not the spell worked or not, depending on how much wax is left over, how much soot is on the glass, etc.
That was one of my questions. Have you seen anything like kind of like a miracle happen or crazy things?
I have seen some crazy things in my life. I was working with my magical partner. The first time ever I saw someone be fully possessed, like their personality was gone. And I was talking to a god, like energy. And I was like really scared. I was like, is he coming back? Where did he go? Like that to me, like talking face to face with an energy like that and like the person's mannerisms completely change. They're doing things they normally wouldn't do, we're using words they don't use. The second most magical thing is in my order, we have a special prayer for healing. And I can't share it with you because it is private. I've done it on people without them knowing. They will be like, immediately stop crying. And they'll be like, I just feel like it got ripped out of my body, like the anger, the frustration. And to me, that's a miracle. To immediately change someone's sphere of sensation for the better is beautiful.
How can you tell a fake and a real powerful witch?
So I like to call these scammers, right? There are a couple of different variations of witches. The first one is the genuine practitioner. A genuine practitioner is going to be humble. This person is not going to be like, I'm so powerful, look how cool I am. Like, no, that is not what magic and spirituality is about. It is not a badge for your ego. As a priestess, my job is to serve others, sow light back into the world. Number 2, a true practitioner will never scare you into buying things. So for example, I've had readings where someone will be like, you are cursed and you need to pay me $750 in order to remove it. And there's always like this time crunch, like, and they're the only person who can solve it. That is not true. That is when red flags start raising for me. If someone is like overcharging and forcing me, like really forcing me to do it, not good. The last thing I would say is that there are people who do make fake things just for money. And I've seen it happen on Witch Talk. I've seen it happen on Tumblr. If someone is constantly putting out items every day, every week, I significantly question their magical ability, because where are you pulling that energy from? I make jars and I make candles for people, but each of those jars and each of those candles take an hour plus to make. And that's not just time, that is my energy and pulling energy from the goddess through me. That's exhausting.
So what are some ways someone can get started in witchcraft? And I know you also have a mystery school too.
Yes, I do. The best thing for people to do, and probably the most accessible, is learning to meditate. Now, I know a lot of people are like, oh, this is so boring. Okay, it seems boring because you don't know what you're doing. Learning to meditate is self-care, because you're creating something and it's literally a superpower. It's called mindfulness. Our brains have been hardwired to be reactive. Someone posts on my video, oh, I have to immediately comment back. Someone's calling me, I have to pick up the phone right away. By creating mindfulness in your body, you are learning to create a distance between you and your emotion. This is called observing. When we can learn to observe ourselves, we can start to feel our energy. I feel anger. I feel happy. And then once you can start feeling those emotions, that is when you can start manipulating your energy. I use a meditation every morning when I wake up for affirmations, telling me that I am strong, I am confident, I am self-sufficient. And every night I go to bed and I release everyone else's emotions and energies from me and just collect all of my power so I can sleep at night. The second thing I recommend is earth. We're learning to work with herbs and learning to understand that everything we ingest becomes a part of us. So that may mean cleaning up our diet a little bit. Maybe we stop drinking Red Bull and Monsters and start drinking tea, making health potions. It's kind of silly, but those green smoothies that everyone drinks in LA, those are potions. They are there to help clean your body and help you with your energy. How to use those herbs. I recommend a book called The Magical Encyclopedia of Herbs by Scott Cunningham. He is a Wiccan, was a Wiccan. The herb encyclopedia is phenomenal and one of the best out there. So once we start learning what these herbs mean, we can start applying them either by making magical bags of protection herbs, or whether we start creating a morning tea where we imbue intention to the herbs and ingest it.
Can you talk about your online magical Hogwarts school?
Yes, so Pythian Mystery School for me is a dream come true. I've always wanted to have a mystery school. What is a mystery school? Dating back to ancient Egyptian times, mystery schools were exactly that. They were a mystery place to learn about magic and alchemy. So within my school, I have several different tiers ranging from $3 to $20, and I walk you through the very basics and foundations of what magic is. We talk about theorems of magic, occult magic. What is the history of magic? How do I do spell candles? How do I use color magic? All the basic foundations. So by learning color theory, by learning days of the week and what their magical associations are, you can start learning to build your own spells. We also have an amazing Discord. It is one of the safest places. And the last thing I would say is the community. Like, we have community rituals, we have live lessons. I really hope as soon as COVID is over that we can actually do a mystery school retreat here in Los Angeles. So I think a lot of people ignore the fact that the planets do have an effect on us. Is there scientific evidence for this? Kind of, but it's never been properly studied. But what I can tell you is that every full moon, the uptick in hospitalizations goes through the roof. In fact, the word lunatic comes from the word luna, the moon. The moon does affect us. The ancient people knew this. And as you learn how the moon phases, you can start recalibrating your life to that and learning to live in cycles instead of working 5 days a week and having 2 days off.
So anyone could join.
Anyone can join. I don't care if you're 60 or if you're 13. I believe magic should be open and accessible to everyone because it changed my life and I know it can change yours.
Allison asked, when you told someone you were a witch, what is their first reaction?
I live in Los Angeles. I am very, very lucky to live in a place that is so accepting. And most of the time people are like, that's cool. You do you. Occasionally I get the person who goes, oh, okay, that's kind of weird. But those people aren't ready to listen.
To what extent can witches use their powers?
It's unlimited. It really is. Again, it all comes to how much energy can you harness as a person, because your energy is like a debit card. I have $100 a day. Every time I swipe that card, I give my energy away. If you are smart with your energy and you work really hard and are disciplined to keep growing, the things that you can accomplish long-term are whatever you want.
That sounds good and scary. Strawberry says, how do you protect yourself from curses if you feel like you've been cursed? Or before you've been cursed, I mean.
So one of the best things you can do is get one of these things. This is called an azar or an azar, depending on what country you're from. This is used worldwide. It's in almost every culture and has been around for the last almost 10,000 years. An azar may also be called the evil eye. You can use this amulet, you can wear it, you can tattoo it, you can put it on your car, on your house. Very good way to repel certain curses. For overall protection, I would really recommend putting black tourmaline. It's a crystal in the four corners of your home. It creates a very simple ward. And lastly, the thing I would suggest is learning to manipulate your energy. In your celestial body, you have something called the golden egg. Your sphere of sensation, your body, is going to be outlined by a gold grid. This includes all of your thoughts, memories, this life, and your past life. When we can learn to fortify that, it becomes like a force shield from Star Wars, where things will just bounce right off. Very easy way to work with this. Sit quietly, breathe from the bottom of your belly all the way up to the top of your head, and then imagine wrapping yourself in a golden light that looks like an egg. When you get really good at this, you're going to be able to breathe in and breathe out that energy around you, creating what we call a circular light around your body. That is probably the easiest way to protect yourself.
Jeremy says, what is the most common request you get from your clients?
Love spells. Everyone wants new romance. I'm very good at new romance spells. What does this mean? New romance is basically a road opener. So what I do is I remove any negativity from your exes or anything in your sphere of sensation, your aura, that is like blocking you from finding that person. And then what I do is I talk to the goddess Lilith or a set, depending on what kind of person we're looking for, and say, hey, this person is offering you this, because like that's part of the money exchange. Part of the money goes to their altar. And they go, okay, cool. One person I have their testimonial on my TikTok. Within 5 weeks, they had a new boyfriend it was like their ex's from high school's best friend, who was totally different than whatever they had dated before. And my spells are very specific. So I don't say, oh, they just want somebody. I go, what gender do you want? How close do you want them to live to you? What are the attributes you want? What kind of relationship do you want? Because I get people who are like, I want the hottest one night stand in my life. And then I have some people who are like, I want a long-term relationship where I'm going to get married.
And you sell candles and these things where you could purchase and then we could meditate and manifest on our own, right?
Yes, actually creating some self-love jars and candles for Valentine's Day. So I think what's really cool is like, yeah, it's super fun when the priestess does it, but being able to do it yourself is very special, and I want to be able to create more of that for other people. So I am creating spell kits, yes.
Last question, Vinod says, can witches predict how 2021 is going to be like?
So witches cannot, but astrologers can. To answer his question, let's focus on planets. So there are 9 planets, 7 ancient planets. These planets are constantly rotating around the sun. We are going around at our specific pace. So is every other planet. Depending on how the planet is in the sky is going to affect us. I can tell you from my understanding of astrology that 2021 will not be worse than 2020, equal to or better. It depends on us, right? It depends on the choices humans make. Regardless of what the stars do or what they say, is that we are here on earth and we can make those actions. So putting kindness and love and light back into the world is more necessary now than ever before. Thank you for having all these wonderful questions for me to answer. It is just, I cannot tell you how nice it is to really talk to someone who is genuinely interested and isn't here trying to tear me down or tell me that I'm crazy. Like, you don't understand the amount of hate that I get.
Did you guys enjoy this video? What did you guys think? Do you guys want to get started in magic? Remember to leave a comment down below. Remember to go check out this online Hogwarts mystery school down in the link below. She also has different candles and kits that you guys could purchase and do some magic on your own, so click the link down below. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a magical day.